Hi, this is Jordan from Scissor Productions, bringing you a tutorial for our sniper scope overlay that we did for our action scene Your Money Back Guarantee. You can check out that video in the description. Be sure to leave us a comment of what you think of it, but trolls, don't be gay. Now, just to kick off, I want to say two things. First of all, I do have a cold at the moment, so some of my words might not be pronounced properly, and could be sniffing a lot. And also, this is my first ever tutorial, so please do go easy on me. Now, there are quite a few sniper scope overlays out there that you can use. There are the simple black boxes with the circle cut out with an alpha channel, so that you can just put your crosshairs over it and it's done. It's just plain and simple. But if you want to take it a little, like a little step further, you can do things like replicating the image bending around a lens. You can replicate a laser dot in the center. You can make a custom, more complicated crosshair set, or you can do what we did and split the channels in the corners, as I shall show you in our video here. Now, don't be watching this video with beginner's experience. You need to be at least a little bit intermediate with After Effects to be able to use this, or you could apply this tutorial to other areas such as Premiere, or possibly apply the idea into things like Vegas, Sony Vegas 9, but that's up to you. I'm going to be using After Effects CS4 because, you know, I don't have the money to upgrade to CS5. Oh heck. Okay. So, my footage is in 720p and at 25 frames per second, so I'm just going to leave that as it is, and I don't usually name comps, but for this tutorial I will. I'm going to call it Comp 1 because I'm a slacker. And I'm going to import my sniper scope and my footage. Now, I have my crosshairs saved as a Photoshop document, so I can bring them in and modify them anytime I want, or just reuse them. And basically, when you're importing a Photoshop document that's got an alpha channel, keep it as straight, unmatted, and make sure that nothing else is ticked, and don't invert alpha because that's bad. That brings it in and allows you to just drag it over the top here, and there we go. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Now, if I just open up Comp 1, I can drag my footage in. Now my footage is actually filmed in 1080p, but I size it down to 720p for YouTube. Okay, so now that we've got our footage in there, I'm going to make the standard basic scope feathered black circle around it to imitate that we're looking down something cylindrical, and I'm also going to put on my little crosshairs overlay that you can't see because it's being gay, and then we'll move into the red dot, and after that the channel splitting and the lens bending. Don't feather it too much, otherwise it won't look good, but make sure that you get it a nice size and a nice make sure you get it a nice density in the feathering, nice gradient, and make sure you don't make it too big or too small to the point that it's unrealistic. So just play with it and see what you like, because it's all about what you think is good. Make sure you get your crosshairs centered, because that's something I had a massive problem with. I just never looked centered, and I got really peeved off with it, so just try and fix that. Okay, so now we're ready to do our little red dot in the center, because, you know, little red dots are fun. So I'm going to go in here, create a new composition, make it whatever size you want, it doesn't really matter. But now we're going to go layer, new, solid. Make sure it's a deep red. Not too deep, maybe a little brighter. Not too deep, but around mid-tone. Because we're in a separate composition, we can make it as big as we want. We don't have to make it the exact size that it's going to be in the actual one, because we can always shrink it down. Feather that. We're going to duplicate that layer, make it smaller, and lessen the feather. Duplicate it one more time, or not. Make a new layer, solid, as usual. This time make it white. I just like turning it off there so I can see what I'm doing. So then, feather the white one, gotta make that visible, and set these two to overlay. Because now, when we... Actually, I should make that a little smaller and feather it a little more. There we go. So now, just play with it till you get it a decent consistency. And we go back to our original. Drag it on. And if we change it to add, we have our little dot. So that'll react nicely with everything. And see how my white is a little off center. On your keyboard, just use little arrows. Now it's more to the center. So most people could just settle at that, and you probably could if you wanted to, then go on and color correct it. But we want to be cooler. We want to be epic. So we're going to go into layer, new, adjustment layer, drag that. Now this is important, drag it just above your footage layer. If you do that, if you don't do that and you just leave it at the top, it's going to affect every layer underneath. Now, lost my mouse there. Go to effect, distort, CC lens. If you've got a trial version of After Effects, you won't have this. So you can either buy it or find it somewhere else, you know. But I'll leave that up to you. So get CC lens, and you can see immediately it's just made this really weird shape here. And I'll show you if we drag this above that, it's going to make everything a weird shape. So you want to keep that just on top of your footage layer. So we're going to play with this to change the size of it and the convergence, or which way it's going. So that there is quite nice, because watch as it moves, it looks like it's bulging and being weird. But just play with it and see what you can come up with. Make it look good. Again, most people could settle for this, but we're not going to. We're going to go that extra step. Now here comes the final part. So first up, get your footage layer and duplicate it. Duplicate it again and again. So you should have 4 layers. Your top layer isn't to be touched at all. At all. It's only these bottom 3. So click that layer there, and we're going to solo it along with the others. And go Effect, Channel, Set Channels. I'm going to start off by going red, blue, green. That's the channels that that's the order of the channels I'm going to have. You can have it in any order you want, depending on what you want the main color to be at the top. So I'm going to go to here, green, turn it off, go to blue, turn it off, and now only the red is going to be here. But as you can see, it doesn't look very good at all. So we're going to set the alpha to lightness. It's a little better. So we got a little bit of the green showing through, some of the other grays showing through, and this is what we want. Because if we turn that off, underneath we've got our standard footage. Now with this one, do the same, Effect, Channel, Set Channels. This time turn the red off and turn the blue off, so we have only the green. So now we got most of the green showing through and a lot of the red showing through, but absolutely no blue. Set the alpha to lightness, and finally do it again, Effect, Channel, Set Channels. This time turn the red and the green off, leave the blue on, set the alpha to lightness. But it doesn't look overly good. It looks kind of ugly actually. So select one of your layers and drag it over. Select the next one, do it again, a little further, and the next one, do it again, maybe this time in the other direction. And what you get is, in fact, pretty cool, to be honest with you. And now we've got that channel split effect. You could just play with it however you like, but you can see we've got very nice, fine stuff hiding in the corners. And you don't have to worry about the edges, because they'll be covered up by our scope overlay. Now if we just unsolo them. Now the last part is to get the top layer, the footage that is completely unedited. Get our ellipse mask tool, hold down shift, make a mask around it, V to get back to your little mouse pad there, and feather it. Maybe lower the expansion so that some of it shows through. But what this does is this will now blend the original image with whatever's in the background. Thanks for watching our first tutorial. Please stay tuned for other tutorials that will come up later and other videos that we'll be making. If you guys want any tutorials, leave us a comment or send us a message on a part that you want a tutorial for, or an idea that you want us to put in our action scenes, or anything else you want to ask us. Just ring the bell in a sense. That's a very bad metaphor. See you guys around. Have a great day.